Good morning, everyone. This meeting of the City of Prescott Council Subcommittee on Water Issues is now called to order. I'd like to introduce some guests that we have here today. We have Mayor Phil Good, and we have Mr. Ted Gambogi from the General Plan Committee here, and we also have the eminent Mr. Gary Worob. Roll call, please. Here.
Member Montoya.
I'm here.
And let the record reflect that Member Sischka is excused from this meeting.
Correct. Do you want to read the item?
Okay. Public comment. Public comment will be accepted following each agenda item and are limited to 3 minutes. Please complete a comment card and return it to the city clerk. Speakers will be called in the order received. Now we'll move on to item 4A, discussion and action items, approval of the June 6, 2023 meeting minutes.
Do I hear any corrections?
No, Chair, I move to approve the June 6, 2023 minutes as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 2-0.
Unanimously.
Okay, item 4B, presentation and discussion regarding an overview of the current residential and non-residential water budget for July 1st, 2023 through July 24, 2023.
Well, good morning. I'm Brian Reese with the City of Prescott Water Resources. And yes, today we have a presentation for you on the overview of the budget from July, for residential and non-residential water budget from July 1st through July 24th. Per the 2023 water policy, 11 through 13 establishes a semi-annual water budget for residential and non-residential projects. From July 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023, residential water budget of 25 acre-feet was set, and a non-residential water budget of 25 acre-feet was set for that period. From July 1st, 2023 through July 24th, 2023, we had one residential project administratively approved due to not being above the 1 acre-foot threshold at 0.17 acre-feet. And that's kind of shown up on the chart here. Make sure it's the right one. That's existing contracts. Let me move this over to residential projects right here. Okay. And this would leave in the budget period remaining 24.83 acre-feet. For the same period of July 1st, 2023 through July 24th, 2003, we had no non-residential projects to report for this period, and there is still remaining 25 acre-feet within that budget. And then per water policy number 9, existing contracts will not be recorded within the water budget, but we projects that have an existing water surface agreement or contract are not recorded in the water budget through the period of July 1st through July 24th. One project was approved, single-family residential at 0.17 acre-feet for that period. And that's basically all we have for you. Fairly low period for this month. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
And we had no commercial?
No commercial at all for this period.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. Any comments, Mr. Montoya?
No.
Well, I find this this is kind of unusual not to have very many applications. What do you attribute it to?
Oh, might be a sign of general slowdown, or it could just be an anomaly for this particular month. I think We have seen projects coming through the permit center that we've been discussing. I think it may have been just at this month. Some of the projects we're anticipating that may have come through had to go back and kind of reorganize a few things or maybe redo a few things. So I don't know if I'd put a whole lot of it into it at this point in time. Like I said, we have been discussing projects with various developers, and there's a few things probably on the wing.
So a few things in the pipeline.
Yes.
No pun intended. Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Item 4C, Water Service Application Number WSA 23-014, submitted by Distinctive Homes and Architecture on behalf of owner Din Tran, location APNs 110-02-102A and 110-02-102B.
Yes, Brian Reese again, City of Prescott Public Works Water Resources, and we do have water service application 23-014 to present on today. This is
Excuse me, Mr.
Yes.
Reese, is the applicant or a representative here?
No, it does not look like it.
Because I have a lot of questions on this. I went out to the site yesterday, and it's a very difficult build site. It's on the slope of a hill that's at least got a 45-degree grade to it. There's going to be a lot of excavation, and I was hoping that there would be somebody here today to answer some questions. So I think that in view that since the applicant's not here or the engineer or anybody, I would like to propose that we table this until next month. What do you think, Mr. Montoya?
Are you making a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
I'll second your motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That
Thank you.
motion passes unanimously. Okay, given that, we'll move on to item 4D, presentation and discussion regarding the city's fiscal year 23 water conservation rebate program from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem Montoya and
Good morning.
Councilperson Roosing.
Morning, Kay.
Good morning. So I do have my cheat sheet here in case I can't see everything clearly, but it's Kay Sito, Water Resources Project Manager in the Public Works Department. So what we're going to do today is talk about fiscal year July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023. And we're going to look at each one of the objects in our rebate program. So next slide, please. Is somebody good? Okay. So we're going to cover toilets, ultra-efficient washing machines, turf removal, rainwater harvesting, rain gardens, smart irrigation timers, and the hot water recirculation systems. Okay. So, I should click her? Okay. So, okay. Okay, good. So let's look at toilets. From July to November of 2022, we had 48 applicants who purchased 59 1.28 single flush toilets. During that same period, there were 0 dual flush toilets and 12 single flush toilets. 10 of them were on septic systems, and the rebate amount was $6,325, and we saved about 595,000 gallons. Now, in December 2022, the 1.28 single flush toilet rebate price increased from $75 to $100. The dual flush increased from $100 to $125. And the 1.0 single gallon per flush increased from $1 to $100 to $150. Now, there was a glitch in the dual flush, and this was not the city's fault. Aqueous, the programmers, neglected to include the 1.0, 1.28 dual flush toilet. So for a while, we had to rely on the 1.0 single flush toilets instead. So we don't have an accurate number. This has been switched. It's been corrected. But I just wanted to make that point to you. And then because some customers are on septic systems, they will get a $50 rebate for every single toilet that they replaced. So the total for the number of applicants came to 109. There were 146 dual flush, single flush toilets, and that's an accurate number. The dual flush and the single flush, little bit questions there, few questions there.
Mr. Montoya?
Thank you, Chair. Kay, can I just ask a question, clarify? For those who are on septic, do they get $50 on top of that rebate? Is that what you mean?
$50 for each toilet replaced.
Okay, but so do they get the credit for doing the? I mean, is that? I guess if they're doing a dual flush, for instance, do they get 100 plus that $50 if they're on a
Yes.
septic? Okay.
Yes,
Thank
they
you.
would. Mm-hmm. And then just to give you the total on the rebate amount, a little over $18,000, and the gallons saved, 1,219,410. And what's important to remember about this is that this carries over to the next year. So once a toilet's replaced, you're going to continue to see that same savings for however many years that toilet lasts. So I wanted you to, okay, so let's see. So next slide. The ultra-efficient washing machines, now this does have to be on the Consortium for Energy Efficiency list. It's a very extensive list, has a lot of options. It is a rebate for $200. There were 46 applicants. We rebated $9,950, and there were 9 of them on septic systems. Now, it's only these two, the toilets and the washing machines, that get the $50 credit for being on a septic system. And we saved about $195, 400 gallons. And then, as mentioned earlier, because some do have a $50 rebate for having a septic system. Turf removal. From July to November 2022, the rebate amount for removing turf was 50 cents, and we had 3 applicants during that time. And they removed a total of 1,627 square feet of turf. And the amount rebated was a little bit over $800, and the gallons saved almost a little 53,600 and some. In December, the increase of the turf removal was increased to $1 a square foot. We now had 11 applicants. The square footage removed, 11,982 square feet, for a rebate amount of almost 10,500. And we're saving 344,097 gallons. So the total here, 14 applicants, 13,609 square feet removed, amount rebated, a little over 11,000, and total gallons saved, almost 400,000 gallons. Now, this particular resident didn't put his application in until the 2024. So this is just starting, this is going to go in this month. But what was really amazing to me was that this Chino Valley resident replaced 698 square feet of turf. He did this in January of 2023. So just out of curiosity, I looked at his number of gallons used. In 2021, for calendar year, he used almost 83,000 gallons of water. In 2022, because we had a really good monsoon season, it came down to 51,390 gallons. 2023, when he first installed the turf in January, his first 6 months usage, 18,410 gallons. Now, this is going to range, when I checked his bills, for the first 6 months, they range from $39 to $52. This Chino Valley resident with 698 square feet of turf removed at $1 a square foot will not be paying a water bill for another 12 or 13 months at least. Just pretty impressive.
That is very impressive, and thank you very much for all the hard work you're doing on this program. It's really paying off.
It is, thank you. So rainwater harvesting, from July to November, it was 50 cents per gallon of storage. There were 7 applicants. We rebated almost $2,000, and we estimate a savings of about $57,600. And that's an estimate because you can never be absolutely sure about, exactly how much was saved. In December, we saved at 50 cents. We kept the 50 to 65 gallon capacity at 50 cents, but 75 gallon and larger went up to $1 per gallon of storage. There were 5 applicants, and this number came down a little bit, which surprised me some. But total, we had 12 applicants. We rebated $3,600. We saved about 84,000 gallons. And I do want to point out that it is required to have a minimum 100-gallon capacity. That's required in our rebate program. And the maximum award is $500.
I have a question, Kay.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of our homeowners are in HOAs, and the question has come up, can an HOA prohibit like rain barrels, rainwater harvesting systems, because they might consider them unsightly or require that they be underground? Do you have any ideas about that?
Well, I am working with an HOA right now, the Villages at Prescott Lakes. It's a 4-acre property, and they were hoping to get a WIFA grant. And I did call about this yesterday morning and found out that they're really not eligible because they would be putting potable water on some turf and some, they want to go to xeriscape. So I sent them a copy of our rain garden guide. It's about 14 pages long, and it's geared towards City of Prescott residents only. And also they would be allowed to install rain barrels. And they're meeting with Manzanita Landscaping. Unfortunately, I'm going to be leaving on Wednesday, so for the next couple of weeks I won't be here. But they do intend to meet with Manzanita, and I sent them a rebate application along with the rain garden application. So that went out to Jan, my contact there at the Villages, yesterday morning.
Yeah. And I'd like to commend this group, the Villages, because they're really being wonderful stewards of our water, because they are trying to put in a system where their irrigation, they're not using so much outside irrigation with our drinking water, right?
Right. But that's really where the rain barrels and the rain garden is going to come in instead. Because as I mentioned when I spoke with the WIFA contact yesterday morning, she said an irrigation system on potable water was not going to cut it.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. So for the rain garden, we only had 1 applicant this year, but that's okay because this applicant really knew what she was doing. She was rebated $3 per square foot. The requirements are a minimum of 50 square feet with a minimum of 400 square feet of stormwater redirected from the roof, and they have a massive rain barrel, which they also got credit for. Only native flora can be planted in the rain garden, but it may also be rock-lined. The maximum award is $500. These people got the maximum award for everything. And this photo is from a resident. She's over there on Sunflower. And she actually had 3 rain gardens installed, and native flora will be planted in January of 2024. This was on the recommendation of her landscaper.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Chair, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you, Chair. Kay, is there outreach we're doing to what you mentioned about the landscaper? Piqued my mind to think, are we doing outreach proactively to different landscape companies to make sure that they're aware of all these opportunities for the rain, like the rain barrels and the rain garden and all that stuff?
Well, I send a list of landscapers. I have that list of everyone who's, like Prescott Valley, Chino Valley, and the city of Prescott also. I will send that list to anyone who inquires about it. And right now, Manzanita's the one that most people have been using, but I do, encourage other people to use others on the list if they wanted to.
Yeah, it just occurs to me that the city might do some good to proactively reach out to these landscape companies and say, hey, this is, because it's an opportunity for them to broaden their business with these customers that they have already.
Well, I did take landscape rebate program, flyers, whatever. I did deliver those to landscapers a little over a year ago. Whether they're still going to, use them or not, but that depends on the landscaper, I think.
That's a great idea. So we already got the list and we already did it last year. We'll just make it an annual or semi-annual.
Yeah, certainly following up, I think, is worthy of it because it's just, that way we're staying top of mind with people. I think, that engagement so that,
Right.
they have it in their mind, maybe, and maybe it's something we can time towards, before they get busy. Because I have a client who's a landscaper, and if you try and pin him down right now, he's hard to get a hold of. So
Okay.
And also a word of mouth. I mean, this looks like it's a showcase, and I think the neighbors will hear about it, and maybe other people in the neighborhood would do something like this.
Well, that's the other thing I did do. My own Yavapai Hills neighborhood, a couple of weeks ago, I made a flyer and I laminated it and I had it tacked up at our clubhouse. And then I went out to Forest Highlands one day last week, and they don't have a clubhouse, but instead they put it on I handed them a rebate application, and they put it on their newsletter along with the website, our new conservation website address. So that's there. Now I still, and then I went over to the library also. Now I still have a couple other, 3 subdivisions I need to go to: Antelope Hills, Antelope Crossings, and Prescott Lakes. I hope to do that either today or tomorrow before I leave for my 2 weeks. But yeah, that's one of the things I've been doing with the subdivisions. And there are more. I'll just have to do some more when I get back. So the WaterSense labeled smart irrigation timers. This rebate amount of $75 has not changed since 2010, but in 2019, we did start to say that it needed to be EPA approved. So from this fiscal year, there were 19 applicants. We rebated $1,425, and the gallons saved, 200,000.
And just to jog my memory, the source of the rebates is from the water fund?
Yeah, it's budgeted. We do budget $40,000. Now, this year we did go over that, and so that will be discussed at the next budget meeting. But right now it's still covered. We don't ever deny anyone a rebate opportunity. Oops, did I miss? I think I missed the hot water. There. The hot water recirculation system was introduced September 14th, 2022, with a rebate amount of $150. We've had 37 applicants. We rebated $5,550. The gallons saved, 61,050.
I was just going to comment. I think that there's such an interest now in having an all-electric home instead of gas. I'm wondering if these electric recirc water heaters are becoming more popular because of that reason, on top of other things.
Well, with 37 applicants in only the last, 9 months, it does look like it's getting pretty popular.
I have one at my house. I really like it.
Good. So here are the totals. Total dollars rebated to the City of Prescott water customers in fiscal year 23, $50,582.50. Gallons saved, 2,148,473 gallons. And I think that a lot of this is due to more public awareness. And then I've got a link here to look at our new city website devoted entirely to water conservation. And this would be for anyone who happens to be listening in. There it is, https prescottwater.com or prescottaz.gov conservation. So that concludes my presentation. Are there any other questions?
Well, I think we'd like to wrap it up with a comprehensive statement as to who exactly is eligible for this rebate. Because as I understand it, you can be in the county, you don't have to be in the city limits. It's anyone that receives city water.
Yes, if you are a City of Prescott water customer, then yes, you could conceivably get, if you're in the county, and I'm not sure about that, but if you can't, then yes, then they could get the rebate if they are a City of Prescott water customer.
Okay. Mr. Montoya?
Thank you, Chair. Kay, first I want to say thank you for kind of stewarding this project as long as you have. I know you're pretty invested in it, and that's great to see. I think anything more we can do to kind of promote this program, I'd like. In some ways, I think of it as kind of our best kept secret, and I would like it to be something that we kind of shout from the rooftops a little bit. I'm a big believer that you tax what you want less of and you incentivize what you want more of. And I think one of the success that we have in the city with our water management is that we have a tiered water rate system that kind of taxes people if they use too much water, right?
Yes, that does help a lot. Mm-hmm.
And that drives conservation, and then we're incentivizing people to do additional stuff like the installation of more water efficient features. So I think that's great. I did the quick math on it, and it's like, and I don't know if this is right or not, 6.59 acre feet a year that gallon works out to, that's pretty substantial, and that's ongoing. As long as these features exist. So
I didn't do the conversion myself, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's great, and and I reached out. I've been doing public outreach. I reached out to Nettie to get some information from you so that I can continue to kind of pull some of this information and use my megaphone to kind of share it to the community as well. So thank you again.
Oh, and we do also the Facebook pages. We've been doing that too once a month. In December, I was looking at an ad that I made for YCCA, and it said Facebook, and I called Lynn and I said, have we been doing Facebook messages? And she said, no. So I started that December, and we've been doing those once a month. Mm-hmm.
Has any of the blogs that you do on the website been directed towards the rebate program?
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning.
The blogs that you do for the website, has any of them been directed towards the rebate program?
Well, they'd have to go to the blog to see to go on the water conservation site. They'd have to see the blog, but every single page on our water conservation website, at the bottom of it, has a link to this rebate program. So you'll see it on every page. Yeah.
And people receive the rebate in the form of a rebate on their water bill? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Now, I have worked with a few HOAs, 4 of them so far, that have agreed to compensate a homeowner if they're going to change out a toilet or maybe get a washing machine. And so I have been working with those, and so far they've been cooperative, these 4 different HOAs, Montana Villas, and there's like 2 Montanas and Montana Estates. But yeah, I've been working with some HOAs on how they can get their customers a rebate.
Well, that sounds like a great idea, especially if it's the owner, the property owner that's paying the water bill and not the tenant.
Right, right. Any other questions?
Thank you very much. That was
Okay.
very encouraging.
Okay.
I just wanted to inform you that the client for WSA application 23-014 is now here at the meeting for your consideration if you'd like to
Okay.
if you'd like to bring it back to the meeting.
Okay, we'll add him on last after the next agenda item.
Keep forgetting. We're going to move on to item 4E, discussion regarding the monthly PFAS update.
Good morning, Steve Wolfers, Utilities Manager for Public Works. Good morning. Great to see y'all again. We have very limited information, or new information on the PFAS. We've been continuing our sample collection. As we've spoken before, we're collecting every quarter, so our last sample results are from April 11th. We have collected those samples for July, and they're in process at the laboratory right now. One of the biggest things for us, though, with the PFAS is we've been working with our legal representatives, making sure we're getting everything put together, working with Chris and Joe with getting any information that they need so that we can be a part of the legal settlement associated with the PFAS. So we've been gathering a lot of those data, and we actually got some independent tests which verify what we've been seeing through our other labs. So it's good news, and we'll be sharing that. We just got that overnight. So we'll be looking at it and sharing it with our legal team to be sure that we have everything we need to progress within that case. So right now, PFAS is just kind of out there. We're waiting for the end of this year before we really get a good idea of what direction we're going to go. And actually, there has been really no rumors as to what EPA plans on doing. So we'll know as soon as they know, and we'll pass it on to how we're going to start working within those limits. So at this point, we're status quo with our PFAS process.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the chart.
Sure.
And we're talking MCL, maximum contamination limit. The EPA is 4
Correct.
parts per trillion. That's
4
with the
parts
T.
per trillion for
Okay.
both the PFAS, PFOS, and PFOA. Okay,
So currently we're mitigating by blending,
that is correct.
and we're blending down to non-detectable
Yes,
levels. And airport number 5, which is the most contaminated, is completely offline. There's
Yes,
no
ma'am.
point in even trying to blend with that.
there's no way we could blend with that well at this point.
Okay. And do you have any updates on our, we've been looking into filtration system on top of blending?
Right. Currently, there is a study taking place with one of our engineers about using different filtration systems. We've kind of been slow on it because we really want to not make a decision on treatment processes until such a time as we know exactly what we're going to have to meet. Because a lot of the calculations go about where actually do you want to be. And so we don't obviously want to be over the maximum contaminant level, but we don't necessarily want to be too far under the maximum contaminant level, because then it gets starting to get expensive to meet the MCL.
Yeah, well, since this is something new, it's always good to be proactive and do your research and be prepared so that when you do have to make a decision and swing into action, we'll have the data and the information.
Yes, ma'am. The intention is to start in the fall of reviewing different ideas, and then once the MCL comes out, then we'll start putting together a plan of how we might mitigate any PFAS that we have in the system now.
And hopefully funding.
Well, that's going to be a challenge, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Any comments, Mr. Montoya?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. And I'd just like to say I have a 101-and-a-half-year-old mother-in-law who's been drinking Prescott water since 1961, and she's still going strong. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, I guess I have to make a motion to unmotion the previous motion. Item C. I need some legal help.
Chris Rosario, Assistant City Attorney, City of Prescott. The motion you're looking for is a motion to reconsider. And if that passes, then you can recall that same thing.
All righty. Thank you.
Are you making that motion?
You can make the motion.
All right. I will make a motion to reconsider item 4C.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you.
So we will now revisit item 4C, water service application, number WSA 23-014, submitted by Distinctive Homes and Architecture on behalf of owner Din Tran.
Hello again, Brian Reese, City of Prescott, Public Works Water Resources. Yes, and today we have water service application 23-014 for your consideration. This is a proposed 12-unit apartment building located east of Rush Street, west of Bradshaw, and a few blocks south of Goodwin Street, as shown in the vicinity map above. The total area is approximately 1.24 acres. Here are some of the diagrams of the from the or site plans and architectural drawings for the proposed development, which would receive access off of Rush Street. Rush Street would be to the left of the screen, and Bradshaw would be to the right on this plan. Okay, so per the 2022 water policy, a water service application is required for this project along with the site plan application. City of Prescott staff did a demand calculation for this project. The building utilizing warm multiplier of 0.12 acre feet per year comes out to 1.44 acre feet per year. Landscaping, Arizona Department of Water Resources multiplier of 1.5 acre feet per acre was utilized to establish the anticipated landscape use for this project, which came out to 0.21 acre feet, giving a total anticipated water usage for this project of 1.65 acre feet per year. This project did go to planning and zoning and was approved on July 13th. 2023. So that's the information I have for you on this particular project at this point in time. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I went out and walked the area yesterday afternoon and looked at the site, and it is a very challenging build here. But I think it's designed to, it's in a flash flood area, but there has been a massive public works detention basin put in upstream just immediately south of this project. So hopefully that'll take care of the flash flooding. But I think it's a good idea to have the carports underneath. But I assume it's going to have sprinklers.
I would assume it's going to meet the building code requirements, and it looks like the applicant is saying that yes, it will be sprinkled.
Okay. Well, maybe it'd be best to have the applicant here to come answer some questions.
Sorry, it was not here earlier. Tom Terry with Distinctive Homes. And to answer that question, it was planning on being sprinkled as well.
Okay, thank you. And are you going to have a structural engineer do the retaining wall in the back? Because there's going to be a big, it looks like a pretty massive retaining wall behind it. And then there's future plans for another phase further up the hill?
That's correct. We have structural engineering done and has been submitted contingent upon this meeting. So that has been done and is submitted.
Okay. And so today we're just approving water for that first phase.
Yes.
Because to tell you the truth, to be honest, I just don't know how you're going to safely get another one of these 12-unit complexes further up.
We have a plan, but we haven't
cliff.
proposed it to you yet, but it's out
have a
off of
plan.
Bradshaw. But it is a very difficult lot, as you saw.
Yeah, it is. But, it's an infill project, and I support infill projects, and it's in an area where there already are a lot of apartment complexes, so it looks like it's a good fit. Mr. Montoya?
Yeah, I have a question. Looking at the site plan, do you know what the square footage of these apartments is going to be? It didn't seem like it was really clearly defined on
It's around, I think the 2 bedrooms are like 800, and there's several 3 bedrooms in there, and they were approaching, I think, around 1,000-ish.
Okay.
Yes.
And you alluded to the fact there's additional phases. How many phases?
Just the 2.
Just the 2
one
phases?
now, and then phase 2 off of Bradshaw when this one's complete.
And will that second phase be of a similar size in terms of the number
That's correct.
of dwelling
It was
units?
also 12 units of similar sizes.
Okay. That's all the questions I had.
Yeah. Tom, I'm just trying to get this concept because this is something that, we really are starting to see in Prescott as these infill lots start being built upon. They're not as easy builds as the previous lots were. It seems all the easy build lots have been used. And so you're planning on getting this built and occupied and then coming back, and how are you going to access the hill?
Bradshaw. The other one would be built off of Bradshaw.
The cliff. You're going to
That's
come
right.
down off the
Yes.
cliff. Because as far as I know, Bradshaw there's a hairpin turn there.
right.
And there's a massive project going on just on the east side of Bradshaw, across the street. I was out there yesterday and I was astounded to see a 100-foot tall vertical dirt pile that looked very unstable. And I don't know how they're going to put a retaining wall on that. I mean, I was just, I've just never seen anything like that here in Prescott. And it was passed with no plans to improve Bradshaw, add an extra lane or anything. So you're going to be doing construction off of Bradshaw in the future sometime if it works out.
That is the plan, yes. That's phase 2.
And then how tall are these apartments going to be? They're
think
3-story.
Well, it's
With the
as you can see, it's
carports.
a carport below 2 stories. It's right around 35 feet. The number's on there for
I
the
couldn't
height.
read it. It was
Right,
I had a
too small.
I had a
But it's around
magnifying.
35 feet, and the other one, phase 2, was comparable.
So 35 feet total.
That's correct,
Okay.
plus or minus.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tom. Is there any public input? Oh, okay, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Warub, Prescott, General Plan, Water Committee, and lots of other things. My question, I just did a rough calculation, counting the amount of windows and all that. For every 1 inch of rain, 1,000 square foot of roof, there are 620 gallons of rainwater. I'm calculating about 150,000 gallons of rainwater per year. Do you have plans for capturing any of that and recycling it?
Tom Terry again, Distinctive Homes. That's a good idea. We haven't considered that yet, but I think we could put some subterranean tanks in somewhere. But right now, with this proposal, we have not addressed that at all. So, but we could. So.
Yeah, I think that would be, thank you, Mr. Worob, for bringing that up, since we just talked about rainwater. But I think storm runoff is especially on a hillside like this. That's why we have that huge detention basin upstream, but unfortunately that's not going to help you. And I noticed when I was out there yesterday, there was, these apartments are older and somebody had stenciled a flash flood warning area sign on the side of one of the buildings, and there was like an old concrete kind of swale. So it does look like maybe you better address the runoff and make an effort to contain it, reuse it, or make sure it's disposed of properly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just another follow-up. I've been doing research for the last lots of years on what apartment buildings, universities, whole communities are doing, and they're taking rainwater and putting a system in, which is very simple for filtration and recycling it all to be repurposed, either through same as gray water for using it for toilet flushing, but some are now recycling it for tap water, so which would be a tremendous reduction on usage in the city. So thank you. And thank
Excuse me, Mr. Worob, I have a question. Are you familiar with Manzanita Village?
Somewhat.
It's in the area there. It's a kind of a communal,
Jeff's
organic,
Yeah.
environmental friendly.
I've visited several times.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately nobody paid any attention to them and their what they've been doing out there, and we're just doing the total opposite of what they've been proposing.
Well, again, I've been researching for many, many years, not just dwellings, but whole environments. One comes to mind. It's on the border of Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico. It's a not-for-profit. It's 110,000 acres. And they put gabions and rock weirs in all the stream beds. And now it's so successful that they're feeding entire communities, and it's tremendously lush, and they don't have a water need. And certainly Tucson is the model that I've been using. It's #1 in the world for desert regeneration, and their aquifers are filling up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Worob, can I please have your comment card?
What?
Can you submit your comment card when you get a second, please? Thank you.
Brian, any more thoughts?
No, not really. I could give you a little update on what the city's doing for the that guardrail situation on Bradshaw. I've been told that we have striped and that chevrons are coming in soon, and I believe the study is just getting underway for the guardrail evaluation. So we're moving forward on that.
All righty, thank you. Any more comments?
No, Chairperson.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Chair, I move to recommend forwarding WSA 23-014 to council for approval.
Second.
Motion passes unanimously.
Wait,
We did,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Got to cross all the T's.
All right, we're moving on to item 5, general announcements from staff.
Good morning again. Kay Sitta, Water Resources Project Manager in Public Works. We received a grant, a $10,000 matching grant from ADWR's Water Management Assistance Program in, I think it was February of 2022. And it came with 4 tasks. The first task was to hire a professional web page designer, and that's been done. And then task 2, the designer, was to maintain contact with us on a weekly or monthly basis. That's also been done. Task 3, the final design will be submitted and approved by the City of Prescott. That's been accomplished. So all of these tasks were successfully completed. Now, task 4, and this was just submitted to Melissa Sykes at ADWR on June 30th, which was our deadline date. The city will collect user data on the traffic of the site and provide a summary of its findings. So, Google Analytics, which keeps track of the amount of hits that we've had, there were 1,500 viewers from March 23rd until June 29th, and this was at noon, as my contact at IT wasn't going to be working on the 30th. 243 of those were in the last 30 days. Where did the new users come from? They came right from the website address. That's called direct, so there were about 750 of those. Referrals means that they linked through another website, about 375 users. What we call the organic search, meaning that Google or another browser was used, 260 users. And then organic social, which means they used social media to find it, 190. So that's the summary for the general announcements. And I also, in the meantime, did send over to Melissa at ADWR a lot of extra materials, such as the blogs that have been on the city's website, the Facebook and Instagram messages, the press release on April 4th. I'm sure I'm leaving some things out, but those have all been sent. And Melissa emailed me last week and said that task 4 was completed to her satisfaction, and she will be passing that on to their finance people to give their final approval. And that's when Sadie Sardi, our designer, will get her final check.
Okay, good work.
Thank you.
Good morning, Steve Wolfers, Utilities Manager. I just wanted to make everybody aware that we have published our yearly Consumer Confidence Report for our water system. This is available online and in many different locations throughout the city of Prescott. This is an annual requirement put forth by EPA and ADEQ, where we discuss the contaminants or what water quality issues we might have, and we make public too for discussion. So this is the pretty standard format that we've been working on. Obviously, putting some nice pictures in there and a lot of information about how we run our water system and what is found within the water system. So I understand there might be some interest or some questions in this, so I'd like to address those at this point and see if there's something I can do to help answer those.
Is everything within acceptable levels?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, that's good to know. No, this looks this looks very comprehensive, and as you know, if we're going to conserve water, we need to have an informed public.
Yes, ma'am.
And they also need to be informed that our water is safe to drink. So this looks pretty good. It's something we do every year, and I think it's very reassuring to the public to know that they're on City of Prescott water, that it's being managed well. Mr. Montoya.
Thank you, Chair. Steve, I appreciate the effort that goes into this. I just want to encourage you that if we are out of acceptable limits, that you not wait till the end of a meeting for general announcements to tell us. Just a little.
Yes, sir. That would not be. Yeah, I would not bury the lead. Yes, sir.
No, but seriously, this is great stuff. I assume does some version of this get mailed out too as well, or
It doesn't necessarily get mailed out, but
Okay.
it is available on the website, and then there are printed copies scattered throughout town. We have.
do you just
City
like
Hall.
throw them from the rooftop?
Absolutely. Maybe we drop them from a plane. I don't know, but
And I imagine there's also some effort to push it out through social media as well.
yes, sir.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
This meeting is now adjourned.